You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way. So you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Want to help you find that really great future that lurks somewhere out there waiting for you on this show, Talking Real Money, because we talk about the reality of money, which isn't necessarily what you want to hear, we've discovered. We'll get to that in a minute. Want to give you a phone number, though. If you have a question, if you would like to share something you've done or something you're thinking about doing, maybe before you do it, give us a call at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. It's a good time to call on a Saturday. You're stuck at home. You're worried about money. You should be calling 855-935-8255. Now,
we can answer a lot of things, but one thing we cannot answer is what will happen in the stock market. I mean, anytime after Thursday at 4 o'clock Eastern time, nobody knows. I guess we could check the futures tomorrow, but nobody knows.
Dude, we knew what happened.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and this comes up basically when you and I started talking about this, I was remembering when I had the TV show, people used to stop me more often because they recognized me. And they would say, "What's up with the market?" And boy, my sons just hated that because they knew people were going to get a lecture about two things. First of all, what is the market? Number two, why would you think I know anything about the future? I don't know anything more about the future than you do, but yet people continue to ask, and that's what they expect from you, Don. So please.
All of us. They
us.
do. Well, I got a note last week, and I was going to read it just on the weekday podcast, but I thought, no, I think this is for the big show. This is the big show that we do. And this one comes out of North Carolina. The subject is suggestions you made to caller regarding what to do with evaporating retirement funds. And let me just read this to you in its entirety, Tom.
Please.
A caller with a TSP called in, Thrift Savings Plan, either in this episode or the next, about a 70-30 split, and said she was down about $133,000. She wanted to know what to do to keep it from going down, either so fast or in general. I think she wanted to know what to do now, not how to get it back, and then know what to do. You told her to take the risk quiz, but this is after she lost the money. I think the horse has left the barn. So I don't think you answered the question that everyone was wanting to hear answered. What does she do now? And the risk quiz isn't the answer. There's more, but I'm not going to read you the rest because he criticizes us for banter, but I know some people like that, so we're just going to keep bantering because our ratings are really good. So somebody must like the banter.
Let the banter
If we were
continue.
just answering boring questions, nobody would listen. So anyway, what do you say to that? I know what I say to that, but go ahead and you say it.
Well, because what he's asking is, now that the market has gone down, now that my retirement funds have decreased, what action do I take? Well, the correct answer is nothing if you have the proper allocation between riskier things like stocks and less risky things like bonds. But you correctly pointed out, I think what you said is the correct answer. You got to know what rate of return you can handle, how much or what rate of return you're trying to get, and how much volatility you can take, how much pain you can endure.
Right.
Then you have the right portfolio. That's the right answer.
And that's the only here's what I believe this correspondent wants. He wants the thing that we can't give, that everybody wants. It's like, well, she lost $133,000. What does she do to get it back? I don't know.
Well, unless you're part of the CARES program, I guess you could try that maybe, or the PPP or whatever they're called.
I don't think her TSP is considered a business with payroll.
No, I don't think you can throw it back in there.
You can't. The only way you can get it back is to be properly invested so you don't panic in the first place. And the best day to do that is today. because it's the only time you can do it. You can't go back and do it 10 years ago. It would be great if she could. She probably wouldn't be in the same boat if she'd done it 10 years ago, but she didn't. So the only thing you can do is do it now, what you're asking for, and so many of you are asking for, and you keep asking for, is that thing you cannot have. And I wish you would stop watching CNBC.
Or reading.
Because they tell you can have it. You can't have that answer. Tell me what to do. Is the market going to go up or down tomorrow? Or Monday?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Tom just gave a perfect answer. Is the market going to go up or down on Monday? Yes.
Or it might go sideways.
That is the answer.
Could go one way
that
or
is
the other.
just the only thing you can know. Do we wish we knew the future? Yeah, we'd be making way more than our decent but not extravagant salaries. We would. We would be rich. We would be billionaires if we could tell you what to do. And we knew it, and we knew it without a doubt. 855-935-TALK. That is our phone number. If you have a question and you want an honest, truthful, scientifically based answer to that question, this is the place to go. If you want to be lied to, there are a lot more shows out there that will tell you whatever you want to hear. 855-935-TALK.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Hi, Don here. Technology's allowed me to work remotely for the past decade. Heck, I even do this show from Florida. So at Vestory, we recognize the power of technology to provide information and guidance when you need it from anywhere, even from our advisors' homes to yours. When the markets seem to be rising, actually have risen, investing feels easy. It's times like these that separate the real investor from the players, and most advisors, well, they're players. At Vestory, we build portfolios for markets just like these and provide the ongoing counseling needed to remain disciplined through worrying times based on decades of scientific research, not seat-of-the-pants hunches or guesses. So if you're worried about your portfolio's future, you need a 100% fiduciary advisor like us to guide you through the troubled markets based on your needs, situation, and personality. Go ahead and set up your appointment with a Vestory advisor right now. Call 800-386-3004 or visit vestory.com, VESTORY.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
And let me share our phone number with you again. That's 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. Mr. Shuffle Paper over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it all straight here.
You got a big old desk there. You got room.
I know.
Hey, I don't want it to appear that we can't take constructive criticism. So I'm going to read the guy's comments about us.
Come on, but go ahead.
We can take it.
All right.
All right. He says, this is the same guy who wrote about us not giving the right answer. It's your show, so you can do whatever you like. But less banter between you guys and more attention to people's questions would be helpful as well. Now get this. This is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Apparently this guy's a teacher. he's chewing us out like a teacher would.
Yeah.
And then this is very teacherly. Sometimes listening to the show is like looking at a paper a student has to write of a certain number of pages, so they write with extra large letters, but nothing much is said. Too much white space, little substance.
So he thinks that we're filling time here on the show. We're just making stuff up, popping it in there to try to fill out a 9-page term paper? Come on. This every word, every single thing we say is vitally important.
Vitally.
Well,
we
say that, I guess,
we don't just fill time with foolish banter. Yes, of course we do. And the reason we do it is because some people enjoy it. It's kind of like, I'll tell you what people say. We've heard this a lot, that they feel like they're part of our life, that we share stuff with them that's not just, yes, here's what you should do with your money. Because let me tell you, if we just told you what you really should be doing with your money, we'd be done in about 5 minutes.
There'd be, by the way, their Money Magazine did the same thing. It'd be one issue. I mean, because here are the 6
it'd be
index
one
funds
issue
to
of
own.
10 pages.
Right. Go
and
do
that
it
includes
and see ya.
ads.
Right. I mean, we used to have that discussion with other publishers about, you guys, and their answer always was, well, we got to publish kind of newsy, hot things just to get people in, to get them to learn about index funds. Well, yeah, I guess, but
we literally have to do the same thing, because if we were to tell you here, are you ready? Here's investing. This is it. I think I have this down now after all these years. Know how much risk you need to take. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay. Know how much risk you can actually stand. And the best, are the police raiding the studio here?
I think they're about to come in. They saw me without my mask on. It's over, my friend.
Yeah, it sounds like they're all out there.
I'm still surprised the number of people I see out without masks on. But anyway, don't make me go off on a rant
banter.
Here.
That's banter. I'm trying to tell people how to invest.
Get back to it. Go ahead.
Know what your risk tolerance is, but don't test it during an up market because you lie to yourself, because we all do. Test it during a down market. Then build a globally diversified portfolio based on that risk tolerance. 100%, your equity portion split pretty evenly between U.S. and international, then a lot of bonds, depending on your risk tolerance, and high-quality government bonds, not flaky bonds. We're going to talk about flaky bonds later in the show.
Yeah.
And rebalance, but otherwise leave it alone. There, we're done.
I'm trying to think if there's anything to add, and I think you hit all the critical points there. So, yeah, okay. Well, so let's go to sports talk now. Oh, that's right. There's no sports talk because there's no sports to talk Although we have the NFL draft, I guess, coming up in, 10 days or something. We could preview that.
Hey, you know what was interesting is that the XFL didn't last as long as the League of American Football.
That's as shocking as a headline as you're ever going to read. That and by the way, they've made no promises to resume next year. Like what?
No,
does that mean?
No. One of their execs said, "No, we're not going to be back. We're just not."
Poor Jim Zorn, used much maligned on this program, and now he's out of work. So it's tough all over.
Oh, I did want to mention, though, because here's one of those questions that a lot of people ask. They go, well, look at how well the S&P 500 has done lately, and why don't you just put all your investments in the S&P 500 instead of this globally diversified portfolio?
Did they say it like that?
That hasn't done as well. Yeah, that's the way they say it.
Okay.
They say it just
Sounds like you
that.
Can't handle constructive criticism to me.
They say it a little whinily. Just a little.
That teacher's going to be all over you about whinily, too, by the way.
Let me tell you, though, this is an interesting fact. You may say, oh, the S&P 500, over the last 10 years, it's beaten a globally diversified portfolio. But.
Yes?
Bonds beat the S&P 500 over the past 20 years.
That was a shocking number.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about the market at record highs, like 6 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Now, the part that they left out was it did beat the S&P from January 1st, 2000 through March 31st, 2020. It's actually over 20 years. But the part they left out was the fact that if you built a globally diversified portfolio, the S&P 500 is only 500 big, huge companies in the United States.
U.S. Oh.
And they haven't even been the best ones to invest in over the long haul. But if you just owned and by the way, that probably has turned since that number came out because the market has gone up so much. But if you instead owned a globally diverse U.S., international, big, small, throw in some value stocks, all those other parts of the market that many of you ignore, it didn't work out. You actually did make more by being in stocks than in bonds over that 20-year period.
Yeah, if I remember, and I don't know that I remember the exact numbers correctly from when this study was done, but the S&P 500 did right about 150%.
I'm trying to find it in my stack.
I remember roughly what the numbers were. The S&P 500 did about 150. Bonds did about 170% over over the entire 21st century. And the globally diversified equity portfolio did about 220%.
Hey, you're right on it. You nailed the numbers, man. Well done.
Am I there?
Without any banter, without any unnecessary words, and straight to the point.
Wow,
good job.
I'm proud of myself. All right, let's go to the phones. 855-935-TALK is our number. And Monique, you're up. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Hi, Monique.
Hi. Thank you, guys. New listener. Moved up here from Arizona, had a horrible experience with an annuity. it was horrible. So we cashed it out, and I've been listening to you guys. So I called Vestry, sweetheart company. They were so helpful because I'm just an individual investor, and I was into Vanguard because of what you've been talking about. And I called over there. They were very helpful. I did a lot of research. And my question was, when I talked to the Vanguard gal, she recommended a certain fund for stocks and a certain fund for bonds. And I said, okay. And then I kept researching, and I found this thing called Life Strategy Funds that Vanguard has. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with those?
Of course.
Yes, ma'am. We are. Yes.
Oh, okay. And my question was, I ended up going with that. It just made sense to me. I don't want to deal. I don't want to buy and sell because I'm not savvy at all. But it seemed like it was just a done deal, and it would just take care of my needs. But what is the advantage over Life Strategy versus separate stocks and bonds if you bought, just a different 30%?
And that is a wonderful question, and one that we were actually kind of going to talk about today anyway. So if you will hold on while we just get some other stuff out of the way, like weather and traffic for those listening to the actual radio, we will get back to that with you. Hang on just a minute.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Just about everything you need to know about money can be found at our website, TalkingRealMoney.com.
Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
Yes, we are, and we're talking about it with you at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255. We got Monique on the phone, and she talked to Vanguard, and they suggested a couple of funds, and then she discovered the Life Strategy Funds and is wondering, why not those?
Yeah, and Life Strategy Fund, the idea here is there's going to be an asset allocation that is pre-constructed for you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
That's correct.
So the workload. So are you hiring their advisory service, or are you just buying a mutual fund that they offer?
I just bought the mutual fund
All right.
offered. They said because I'm not a big time employer or a big investor, and I took the test. I'm a patient person. I'll sit on it 10 years, and
good.
I just didn't want to think about it.
Yeah, no. So this is a long running discussion between Don and myself about target date funds, Life Strategy Fund, because the idea here is they're telling you, Monique, with your age, your situation, you should be about this much in stocks and this much in bonds, and we'll adjust that over time as you get older to be a little more conservative. But we do all that for you. We don't really know you all that well, but we know you enough that we're going to tell you what your asset allocation should be. The problem you run into is like recent times, right, where that particular fund could go down a lot because depending on how old you are, you hold a lot of stocks go down, you end up seeing the value of the portfolio go down. But you sound like you said you're a patient person, you're going to sit up for 10 years. I think it works fine for most people. Don?
I do too. It is so simple, and if you don't want to have to think about it, that's the nice thing about them. I mean, really, my perfect simple solution is just the two funds, the Vanguard Total World Stock Index and the Vanguard Total Bond Index. But you do have to do something every now and again, particularly in markets like this. You have to rebalance. So if you don't want to rebalance, you want it simple, you don't have a complex portfolio, I don't have any big issue with doing a life strategy.
Remember, life strategies, there's no need to rebalance them. It keeps you in the market when the market does bad things, and your costs at Vanguard extremely low.
Oh my gosh, the Life Strategy Moderate Growth Fund, the expenses are 0.13
I mean,
per year.
So I think you did pretty well there, Monique, and welcome to Seattle. You came just in the right time. You can't go see anything nice here, but I'm hoping that'll change so you can go to the lake.
But the weather's nice right now.
The weather's beautiful. Yeah, I got that going for you. So thanks you very much for coming here and for listening.
855-935-TALK. That is our phone number. Thanks, all of you, for being a part of the show. And Rich, you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Now we can't.
Is a jet taking off behind you there?
Okay. What's up?
All right. I just purchased some Prudential highest daily value 3.0 annuity, and I'm still in my 30 days where I can get out of it. And I understand stock, bonds, fees, all this other stuff, but I'm finding a hard time picking this annuity apart. I like it.
Okay, I got to tell you, Rich, can you do us a huge favor? Can we take? We got a break coming up in about a minute, and the quality of we're getting a lot of noise, so it's very hard to understand you. I didn't get the name of the annuity. Can we put you on hold and see if we can get you where we don't get all that background noise and whatever else is going on, and then we can delve into this a little bit more. We can try to do some looking at that and see what it looks like. I'm not even sure what kind of annuity it is, but I'd like to know more.
So without all the banter, if we could just ask you to hang on, Rich, that would be okay.
Oh, yeah, I was filling out my paper.
You're filling out the 9-page term paper that's due by Wednesday morning. So
in like 30-point type.
So if you could hang on, I do want to mention one other thing before we go to break, that many of you at Boeing are maybe looking at either a layoff or early departure. We've already talked to many of you. Another person wrote us today, we're glad to help you try to figure out how to make decisions about all these things, because these are big decisions and you want to make them right.
And this is one of those things that in which it really does make sense to take advantage of the fact that we do offer you the opportunity to sit down with one of our advisors without any pressure, any obligation, or any sales pitch.
Tom and Don are talking real money.
Download the advisor interview form and find out if your advisor's a fiduciary at TalkingRealMoney.com.
We're talking real money.
Because it's really, really important. And if you have something monetary you'd care to discuss with us, the Banter Boys, give us a call at 855-935-TALK, 855-935-8255.
Less banter, more blather. That's my new motto.
Yeah, more blather.
About that.
It's better than being the Beanbag Boys. Did you see that movie?
No, I never did, thankfully.
It's on HBO.
Yeah.
It's called Bad Boys or something.
It's
cute.
There's a lot of stuff on TV now, and I don't think that one's going to make the list. Sorry to say.
You got to watch it. It's actually pretty funny.
Beanbag Boys, really?
Well, it's called Bad Boys, and it's 3 12-year-olds.
No.
Who are like buds, and they're funny. They're very funny. It's a little raunchy, but they're funny. Okay, it's a lot raunchy, but they're funny. We're talking to Rich at 855-935-TALK. Rich just bought an annuity from Prudential. That part I got.
Yep.
What was the name of the annuity, Rich?
It's the highest daily value 3.0. What it's
That
basically
is
going
an
to do
indexed annuity.
But it
That's
captures.
an index.
I invested it. Yeah, but no, I disagree with you, because what it does is it captures the stock market. I pick certain mutual funds within it. So I could pick, let's say I don't know, it has like 100 mutual funds. Let's say I pick the American Funds Growth and Income, hypothetically.
Okay. But
And
it says it caps it.
For the first 10 years, it will capture the highest daily value of this annuity, meaning whatever that mutual fund does. And then after 10 years, I could draw on it at 65 at 4.5% of that value of the phantom account. Or I could draw out of my real money. If I draw out of the phantom account, which is, the highest daily value, then that's it. It won't grow anymore. It just starts storing income. And I'm having a hard time finding what's bad about it. That's the thing.
Well, what's bad about it is that they have created a calculation that guarantees them that they won't pay more than X, because there's no way they are not going to give you the total annual return of a growth-oriented mutual fund. They're just not going to do it unless they charge
20% in a fixed. Like 20% of your money.
No. But you see, they've played a game with semantics, saying they're going to give you the highest daily value.
Thank you.
During the year.
Mm-hmm.
That is not. So they know that based on history, the highest daily value is X, and that X is nowhere near the total return of a mutual fund, which is Y. There's no way X comes anywhere near Y. So they're confident, and my guess is, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, and I would have to sit down and read the entire incredibly let me ask you, did you read the entire disclosure document?
No.
There you go.
Boring.
Yeah, and then let me just
That's
finish.
they know that. You got to read it.
I understand what you're saying, and it feels like, again, this whole notion of I'm getting something for nothing. I'm getting the market return without the risk. Smarter people than Don and I, way smarter, that spend, and actually, that people actually read the disclosures. People that spend hundreds of hours studying these things have said, and I trust them because they have no reason to say otherwise, that you end up making somewhere around 3 to 3.5% a year on your money over the long haul. So I trust that work. I don't trust the insurance industry about all this because what we have found over the long haul, again, there is people are generally disappointed with the returns. And when they find out that the insurance company, as Don pointed out, made this much when I only made this much, it doesn't turn out well for the people that bought the annuity. It turns out great for the people that operate the annuity. But that all said, I'd still need to know why you want an annuity in the first. What is the purpose of this in your portfolio?
Okay, well, it started about in 1998. I purchased an annuity. I'm only 52 now. 98, I purchased an annuity. I put a little money in it because I'm a firm believer everyone should have 10 to 20% of their portfolio in an annuity. And
okay, but let me stop you there.
Why?
Just tell me why. I'm trying to understand.
You know
that,
why? Peace of mind.
Okay,
And
but so you're trusting.
what I went through
okay.
recently.
All right. Well, this again, I'm not. 10 to 20%. I get that part because it feels stable. But remember, it's only as stable as the insurance company that issues. Number two, why not just own government bonds? Those have been way more. I mean, that's way more of a guarantee than an insurance company's guarantee. Don?
I found a review of this annuity, and this review says that you will not earn what the market returns. This is a variable annuity, not an index, and you will get about what the market is returning, less about 3% due to costs, and it can lose money. So the only guarantee they're going to give you is your initial amount if you annuitize or die.
Real money.
Hi, this is Don. Please listen carefully and respond honestly. Do you have an investment portfolio designed to weather market declines based on your personal volatility comfort zone? Odds are that you don't, because that's not how most financial advisors work. They make money by playing to your emotions. Sell that, buy this. At Vestry, our job is to know you, your needs, goals, and fears, and then help you build and manage your wealth in a way that allows you to sleep peacefully. Markets like these are why you need a 100% fiduciary advisor like Vestry. So before you do something you may regret, take a few minutes and talk to one of our Vestry advisors who are available by phone or video conference when you need them at 800-386-3004 or set up an appointment at Vestry.com. You have better things to do than worry about the market, so change the way you invest for your future for the better today at Vestry.com or call 800-386-3004. That's VESTORY.com.
For your real life and real future, Tom and Don are talking real money.
All right, I messed up. The name of the movie isn't Bad Boys. Bad Boys is a different movie. It's
Yes.
Good Boys.
Okay.
It's Good Boys.
All right.
Good Boys. Good. 12 years old.
Take that one home and
12-year-olds,
suggest it.
not a children's movie.
No, it doesn't sound like it. And I got a 12-year-old She literally watches zero TV.
Well, that's good. She's got things to do.
Well, yeah,
People
she's
don't-
on her phone with her
screens.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet it's all screen time.
No, she's not
No,
sitting
you know
around
what,
reading
kids?
Mark Twain or something. No, but
And if they watch stuff these days, they watch things on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. They don't watch traditional, apparently now old people television.
and now she has a Zoom account because they're going to do virtual volleyball practice on Monday nights. I can't wait to see that.
Can't
Virtual
wait till the screen
volleyball
practice. The screen
Wham.
gets broken.
Oh no,
by
she's
a-
broken everything else in the house already. She's knocked down the ringer up there. She knocked down all the pictures. Everything has fallen. Can't wait for her to get back in the gym. Oh, pardon me.
Banter
Okay, sorry.
alert. Banter alert.
Moving on to
855-935-TALK is our phone number. 855-935-8255. And you're up next. Welcome to Talking Real Money.
Thank you. Hello, hello.
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 I'm wondering if it's finally time to go paperless with my reports and my proxy voting
Yes.
envelope.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I end up barely reading the yearly reports that are an inch thick, and I use the paper for fire starters.
Yeah.
So-
The reports from like individual companies.
Or
Yeah,
mutual funds.
Sometimes like that, and then my monthly report from my financial company, that kind of thing that I end up having to shred anyhow.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, if you're asking me, my advice is to take it all electronically. Sometimes people when you start a new relationship with a new advisor, a new custodian, sometimes it does make sense to get a printed report for a month or two just to make sure it all matches up. And by the way, if you have an advisor where you have a custodial, so if your money was, for example, at Schwab and you get a report from Schwab and then you get the report from your advisor to make sure those match up, because there's you want a Bernie Madoff type of discrepancy. But after that, I see no reason. There are people, by the way, that hold records for like 10 years, all this paper, and I can go back and no. You can go get that anytime, by the way, generally.
Exactly.
Okay.
Most financial firms these days have very, very good client portals where they store all of not only the documents that they send you, but you can also send them important documents that can be scanned and stored in the cloud, so that, let's say your house burns down, your papers are on the cloud.
Yeah. Yes.
The cloud is a wonderful place. It really is. For all its problems, it's incredible what we can keep there and for how long we can keep it, and how easy it is to access, and the security is still pretty darn good. Remember, people can break into your house and steal your stuff or take it from your trash can. So
Now, for the proxy voting, though, will I get an email to say this
Yes.
proxy vote needs to be done?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
So instead of a paper inside an envelope, I'll get an email.
Correct. The way voting eventually will probably go everywhere for everything, but yeah, that you can vote. You'll vote your
Boy, is it
proxies
ever more important
electronically.
today than any other day, too.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Voting
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, and
that-
again, no offense to you or anybody else on the proxy deal. I don't know how to say this gently, but your vote isn't going to mean that much.
That's kind of what I
You know,
wondered.
this comes up because all of our clients' money is either in exchange, very little in one exchange traded fund, mostly in mutual funds. So from time to time, the mutual fund needs to have a proxy vote. We don't take those votes for our clients, but they call us and say, "Which should I vote for, Joe, or should I vote for Bob on the board?" And they're pretty meaningless. Those decisions have already been made in many
institutions
cases.
control.
Correct.
The institutions control those decisions. The big owners of the funds or the stock or whatever it might be. So, not too critical to vote proxies.
No.
It's kind of an exercise in futility, but yes, you can do it online.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that was my question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ann.
I would be
We
voting
appreciate
for
you being
Dawn,
there.
by the way. If I had I'm voting for you, brother. You're in.
I am on no boards, none.
No, you can
Oh,
still
well,
run for
no, I'm
president.
on it.
I can write you in.
I'm on a community development district board. I was on an HOA board. That's the extent of my board experience. And, having done them for 13 years, I'm kind of bored.
You need a new nonprofit to be part of once you get settled in Virginia.
I do. Although
You got a lot of energy.
I've got my nonprofit podcast, my lip reading
that's true.
podcast.
But that's not benefiting anybody other than the people listening. You need to help others.
Well, it's
in some way.
benefiting the people listening.
Okay, I just said that.
Well, but they like it. I got a nice message from a guy. It was really sweet.
Okay.
But, he said it was like one of the best story podcasts he's ever heard.
I'm not saying
Sorry,
it's not. I'm just saying you should. I mean, there's somebody else out there that could use your help. That's all I'm saying.
All right. More than I do now.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't even know this.
Okay.
You know how I do the features for Como?
Indeed.
Yeah. I turn them into a new podcast.
I already knew this because I listened to your podcast last night because I wanted to hear what you had to say about our friend Jim Cramer. Yeah.
Yeah. I just finally, Apple, after about a week, got it up there. But now there's the Talking Real Money podcast.
Yeah.
and the Talking Real Money Minute podcast.
So if you really think Don spends too much time blathering on about things, you can reduce it to 1 minute and get the critical information.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. You could just get it in a minute. Now, it's not, you can't search it yet on Apple Podcasts. You can on Spotify because their search thing takes 24 hours. But you can go to talkingrealmoney.com and you can listen to the last 6 of them.
Wow. And these are like 1 minute, like what is a stock? What is it like?
Well, the last one was what is recharacterization? Not recare. No. What is
it's important to know that
forbearance? What is forbearance? What is forbearance? Because people are talking about their mortgages and getting forbearance. So I explained what forbearance is,
which is a very important topic today.
Yeah.
Well, it's still going to be fascinated to see how many people do not pay their rent and or mortgage on April 1st. When that number comes out, I think the market may turn on that.
Well, I got to tell you, my daughter works for a company that does event planning, but they're also a big landlord. They have about 140 rental properties in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
She said in April, it was about 50%.
That's interesting because they're just another podcast that I love that I highly recommend from NPR called Planet Money. I think it's a great podcast. They just did one.
It is a great podcast.
With and this, they were talking about this exact thing. If you don't pay your rent, blah, blah, blah. And this one landlord that they interviewed who has 2 buildings, I think, it was about 50%. He took in about 50%. And then they interviewed a college professor about the CARES Act and what all that means. And basically, yes, you can get forbearance. You can push that off. But the servicing companies, not the banks, because banks have the assets to cover to pay the investors for those mortgages. If you're going through a servicing company, there's nothing in that bill that figures out what they're going to do with these shortages, and they don't have reserves. So they won't be able to pay back all those mortgage bonds that people have purchased. So there's the rub. We'll see how that plays out.
But my understanding is the way that it works, the holders of those government mortgages, the Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae's kind of things, they are not going to get those payments.
Yeah,
they'll get them. Well, no, they'll get them either in a higher payment form coming up in a few months, or it'll be tacked onto the end of the notes.
Tom and Don are talking real money. Your guides to a really great financial future. Tom and Don are talking real money.
And if you do need a little help, trying to figure out what to do with your money, if you're looking at an annuity, you might want to sit down with a Vestory advisor. It can really help, and it won't cost anything. Now, if you want us to manage your money long term, that will cost you, but not as much as a lot of advisors. So check us out at Vestory.com, Vestory.com, or give us a call on weekdays at 800-386-3004, 800-386-3004, or Vestory, Vestory.com.
We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestory, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. Are we done now?